Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Just a Word. Chazak Eliyahu here with another Shabbat teaching. Today we look into who shall dwell into thy set-apart hill, thy holy hill. That's Psalms 15, but that will be left to the end. But before that, we have to go through the madness of men. We have to go through folly, the madness of men. We have to go through the new covenant, showing that we are in the new covenant. And we also have to do what again? What's the other one again? Yes, we have to look at self-control. Self-control as how it relates to the madness of men. Very interesting teaching to me today. Very another eye-opening teaching for me. So please pay close attention as we go. Please pay close attention to get an understanding, because we have been prompted. The teachings that we have been doing, we have been prompted. It's just holiness, it's just righteousness, it's just perfection of the self. It's just perfection that the Most High is actually showing us. Now, let me begin. There are a whole lot of different things that have culminated together to bring this teaching. A lot of different things have happened to me, with me, involving things that have come to me, dreams, understandings, different things that have come to me. And all of that just culminate into one thing, into Psalms 15. So we're going to begin. Today, a couple of days ago, I was on YouTube, and this video came up in my feed, and I saw a word from Yahuwah. Now, Shaul tells us, despise not prophesying. So being not one who despises prophesying, I said, I got to hear what this one is actually saying. So I'm going to play it for you, so you hear, and it is a big part of everything that came together during the week. Let's go.
Shalom Mashbaka, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special message from the Most High Yahuwah that was given to me early this afternoon in prayer. I want to deliver the message, and then the video will end. The purpose of this video is simply to share what the Most High has instructed me to share. No more, no less. And now hear the word of the Most High Yahuwah to us, the nation of Yasharal, and to the nations of the world. Halal Yahuwah, Halal Yahuwah, Halal Yahuwah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I will delay no longer. I will delay no longer. I will delay no longer. My mercy knows no end. My mercy knows no bound. But there comes a day when judgment commences. There comes a time when I say enough is enough. That time has arrived. I will bring my hammer down upon the nation of the United States of Babylon and the countries that align itself with it. I will bring my hammer down in judgment. I will recompense my people, Yasharal, for the ways in which they have been mistreated, the ways in which they have been maligned, the ways in which they have been imprisoned and enslaved. I will bring the hammer down upon this nation. I will recompense my nation. I will defend my beloveds. I will gather my people out. No more time. No more time. Delay no longer. Delay no longer. Only a remnant. Only a remnant. Only a remnant will be saved. Only a remnant will be spared. There are many who have come into the awakening, and they have learned their identity. They have found out by one means or another who they are and where they derive from, that they are Hebrews. And they have determined that they are from this tribe or that tribe. But they have not drawn nigh unto me through my Son. They do not know me, and therefore I do not know them. And I will not spare them for the judgment that is coming. I will not spare them during the time of war and famine. I will not spare them during the times that the creatures attack. I will not spare them. They do not know me. My children, those of you whom I have sequestered away in Goshen, I have brought you out of the world and brought you to myself, and you have responded. You respond to my requests. You respond to my commands. You respond to my dictates and my statutes. Your desire is to please me. It is not perfect, but your heart's desire is to please me, and I see you. And I see your efforts, and I will cover you with my feathers. Continue in my love. Continue in my ways. Continue to surrender to my commands and to my Son. Continue. Judgment is here. Judgment is here. For those who have eyes to see, you may see it. For those who have ears to hear, you may hear it. But for those who are on the outskirts, those who dilly and dally in Babylon, who have one toe in the world and one toe in the kingdom, they will not see it coming, and it will knock them off their center, and they will be lost. Only a remnant will be spared. Only a remnant will be brought out. I will only gather those who are producing fruit unto righteousness. If you are not producing fruit unto righteousness, you will not be gathered out. This is my warning to my nation. You are my people, and I love you, but I only love those who obey me. If you disobey me, you demonstrate to me that you hate me. When you hate my commands, when you hate your brother, when you will not do the things that I have instructed you to do. Only a remnant will be saved. Only a remnant will be spared. The days hasten fast. Make final preparations as I have instructed you to do. Be very careful about where you go and how you traverse and how you travel. Be ever prayerful. Pray for your Malachim to guard you and keep you in all of your ways. Pray Psalm 91 over yourself, over your families, over your home. Stand in my word. Stand on my word. Believe in my word and be spared. Only a remnant, only a remnant, only a remnant will be spared.
Zion, Zion, Zion. Only a few of us gon' make it out. Zion, Zion. Only you remnant. 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 When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people to return. Only you remnant. 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 Only you remnant.
Yeah, so this is who shall dwell in his set apart hill. Oh, video and audio not matching up. It's the internet, I guess. I have another, but that won't do either. All right. So, who shall dwell in thy set apart hill? Oh, a few days ago, or was it yesterday or the day before? I was reading the book of Ecclesiastes. Not reading it, but I just came upon this verse in the book of Ecclesiastes. And the verse said, in Ecclesiastes 9 verse 3, and it struck a chord with me. This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, that there is one event unto all. And we know that one event is death, right? Life and death. Yea, also, the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. And after that, they go to the dead. Now, I found that very interesting. That part that says, madness is in their heart while they live. Madness is in the heart of man while they live. And after that, they go to the death. So every single man is born going about with madness in their heart. So when I looked at that, I said, no, I have to see what this madness actually means. Let me see what this madness actually means. And we look at the word madness. It is actually the Hebrew word holela, which means folly, madness. So again, that doesn't tell me anything. So I looked up the meaning of the word folly in the dictionary, and I saw lack of good sense. So man is full of evil, and lack of good sense is in their heart while they live. It also means foolishness. Man is full of evil, and foolishness is in their heart while they live. A foolish act, idea, or practice. So a foolish way of life is in man while he lives. Similar words to folly is foolishness, foolhardiness, stupidity. So the average man goes through life in stupidity, thinking that he's okay. And that's the thing with the sinner. The sinner will come with all sorts of talking, all sorts of foolishness. I was watching a video, was it early this morning? And a man came up. You know those people who try to debunk the Bible, just say a little chunk out of the Bible, not having the understanding, thinking that they are rejecting the Bible and showing up the Bible as foolishness. And when he came up to one of the men who were on the road speaking, and he gave his part, the man had to break it down and say, no, that's not what it means. Yes? So stupidity is in the heart of man from they were born. The only way to get rid of this stupidity, all right, the only way to get rid of the stupidity is to be transformed. That's the only way. Idiocy, imbecility, silliness. So I wonder if this has been cut off. Are we still on YouTube? All right. Let me check it. Okay. All right. So, yes. So foolishness is in the heart of man by birth, by default. So if you are out there and you say, for example, you are not a believer, if you are not a believer, foolishness is going to be in your heart and you don't know it. Now, for us as believers, the same thing, foolishness is with us, and we need to get rid of the foolishness. So left on our own, we are helplessly in foolishness, helplessly in folly, helplessly in stupidity, helplessly imbecile, helplessly foolish, mad. But we are given a helper to overcome our madness. That is the beauty of the Most High. That is why he gave us Ruach HaQadosh. That is why he gave us Yahusha HaMashiach. He saw us helpless in our stupidity, in our madness, so he gave us the helper. 1 Corinthians 2, 6-16. He gave us the helper to help us out of our stupidity. We're going to go from here, from our stupidity, onto where we need to be to enter the kingdom, to dwell in his kingdom. That is a short path that we are going to go along. So we start out, by default, we start out in stupidity. 1 Corinthians 2, 6 to 16. Howbeit, we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. And this word here, perfect, is another word that is in Psalms 15. Yes? Those who dwell there are those who are perfect. So when someone comes to you and says, oh, we're all imperfect, we cannot be perfect, that person has condemned themselves that they cannot dwell in the set-apart hill of the Most High. Let me continue. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. So we have two different wisdoms, as we looked into this the last time, I think. We have the wisdom of this world and we have the wisdom of Yahuwah. In the wisdom of this world, we have foolishness. That is where the madness and the folly and all of those things dwell. That is where they all dwell. In the wisdom of this world. Then there's the wisdom of Yahuwah. We're going to look at that. But we speak the wisdom of Allah in a mystery. So those who have the wisdom of Allah, who are not in the madness of this world, when they speak to the world, what they say will be madness to the world, because the world is in madness, is in folly, in foolishness, in silliness. The world is imbecile before the Most High. And when we speak the words of the Most High, we will be speaking the opposite of their madness. So, to a madman, we will appear to be mad. So we will appear to be the crazy ones. So we will speak in a mystery that they cannot understand because they are in silliness. They are in folly. But we speak the wisdom of Allah in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which Allah ordained before the world unto our splendor, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Master of splendor. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which Allah hath prepared for them that love him. So if we love him, then he will help us out of the madness. But Allah hath revealed them unto us by his Ruach. This is the tool that the Most High gave us to get out of the madness, the folly of man. By default, remember, man is born in foolishness, in madness, until his death. But the Most High has given the Ruach to take us out of this foolishness. By giving us the Ruach, that will reveal the things of the Most High unto us, things that the world cannot understand. For the Ruach searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of Allah. So we are given the Ruach, and the Ruach searches out the Most High, the deep things of Allah, and comes back to us and gives us the understanding. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the Ruach of man which is in him? Even so, the things of Allah knoweth no man, but the Ruach of Allah. So we cannot know the things of Allah unless it is the Ruach of Yahuwah. Week by week, you might come here and come to the teachings here. It is the Ruach that is presenting the teachings. The Ruach. It's not me. Okay? Because if you understand and know how some of these teachings come, then you would realize it's the Ruach searches the things of Allah and comes back and tells me, and then I deliver it unto you. That's how it works. Now we have received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach which is of Allah. So we have the Ruach of the world, in which dwelleth all the madness. And we know who is the prince of the power of the air, the prince of this world. We know the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That is the Ruach. No, that is the Ruach that leads us in this madness. But we have not received that Ruach. Yeah, we have rejected that Ruach, and we have now received the Ruach, which is of Alua, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Alua. So we are given this Ruach of Alua so that we might know the things that Yahuwah has freely given unto us. So by default, we are born in this madness. The Most High gives us his Ruach to search him out so that we can escape the madness of man, so that we do not have to go back the same way that we came. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which Ruach HaQadosh teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. So we now are in a spiritual zone, a spiritual world, where we, not with which man's wisdom teaches, and that wisdom is the wisdom that is born of madness, not that one, but that which Ruach HaQadosh teacheth, and Ruach HaQadosh is the teacher. So we now compare spiritual things with spiritual. Remember, we did a teaching a few weeks ago when Yahusha said his kingdom is not of this world. So because his kingdom is not of this world, we have to take ourselves out of the natural, carnal self of this world and go into the spiritual realm, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. So only the spiritual man will be able to understand us. Only the spiritual man will be able to take these things. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Ruach of Alua, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. This is the whole core of what we are saying. When we are natural, meaning we are not filled with the Ruach, we cannot receive the things of the Ruach of Alua because they are spiritually discerned. You have to have this Ruach to receive these spiritual things. Spiritual things are for spiritual people. So you are able to download the spiritual things when you are in the Ruach. If you are in the madness of this world, it will be foolishness unto you. Why? Because you're in your own reality. Your own reality, the reality that is of this world, that is not of Yahuwah. That is why the Most High said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If you love the world, you're going to align yourselves with the things of the world. If you align yourselves with the things of the world, guess what? Then you will not be able to receive of the word of Yahuwah. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yea, yet he himself is judged of no man. So the spiritual man cannot be judged. Because the Most High will be using the spiritual man to do all sorts of things that will look so foolish and silly, even to the natural man, even to the spiritual man. Will not be able to discern the spiritual man. Why? Because it's the Ruach of Yahuwah that is using him or her, that is speaking to him or her, that is directing him or her. And so you will greatly err if you go and criticize that person. If you go and you turn against that person, you will err. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. For who hath known the mind of Yahuwah, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of a Mashiach. So when you receive of the things of the Ruach of Yahuwah, you now take on the mind of Hamashiach, because the Ruach that was in Hamashiach is now in you, directing you yourself. And you now have his mind, the mind of Hamashiach. Apart from that, otherwise from that, you will be in the folly of this world. All right. In the folly of this world. Listen to this very carefully. Please, please, please. Now, who is given this Ruach to come out of this madness? Who is given this Ruach? It is those who obey. They obedient. Let me get this thing straight. I don't like how this thing messed up. Let me get it on. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yes. Just a little bit more. All right. Yes, so it is those who are obedient. Acts 5:32 says, and we are his witnesses of these things. And so is also Ruach HaQadosh, whom Allah hath given to them that obey him. So to receive the Ruach, to receive this set-apart Ruach that is so instrumental in getting us out of the madness, we must obey, we must be obedient. Disobedient people cannot receive of this Ruach. That is why we have to be striving to keep his commandments, to do his word, to walk in his way. That is the one who gives the Ruach. We have heard growing up in Christianity and thinking that we don't have to obey anything. Today again, I was listening to a video when a Christian was speaking about the law. Oh, you don't have to obey the law. All you have to do is obey two. Love your neighbor as yourself and love Yahuwah with all your heart, mind, and soul. Ignoring that Yahusha said, on these two hang all the law and the prophets. Meaning that if you are able to obey Yahuwah with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself, you will be able to walk out all the law and the prophet. Because you will be doing that which is right at all times. You will not be doing anything to err against Yahuwah. So if you love Yahuwah with all your heart, mind, and soul, you will do that which is right, that which pleases him. You will not err. You will be obeying the commandments. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you will be doing all that it takes, yes, to do right with your neighbor. So you would not transgress against them. So you would not steal from your neighbor. You will not covet his wife. You will not covet his house. You will not do it. You will not transgress against your neighbor. If you see anything for your neighbor, if you see his animal going astray, you know that's his animal. You know that he has gone to work, and the animal is found on the other side of town. You can bring him back. You bring him back because you are thinking about your neighbor as yourself, saying, if it was me, I would want him to do the same. That's what it means. So you cannot be disobedient against the Most High. So the Most High is actually angry with us for this madness, this folly, this foolishness. It is very strange. So we grow up in this madness. Okay? And we could say, well, you know what? I grew up in this madness. It's not my fault. That's who I am. But the Most High is angry for us being in this madness because he gave us all we need to get out. All right? All we need to get out, we have been given. We have been given his word. His Ruach is freely given. All we have to do is to seek him. He has given us an indication. He has given us all the indication of his creation. Yeah? Look at the sun, the moon, the stars, the rain, everything, the clouds, everything. Everything, you can just look at them and know that those things cannot happen by chance. The sun and the moon keep perfect time. And by the way, at the time of doing this tomorrow, we celebrate the first day of the year. We have 2 podcast episodes on our website. You can go to justaword.org, and there are 2 there that explain to us as we go through the book of Enoch to pinpoint the keeping of time. And it's from there we get that. So tomorrow is the beginning of the year, first month of the year, October 3rd. It's the first day of the month. And it might sound funny to you, but if you listen to them, then you will get an understanding of how we arrived at this understanding. Anyway, that's a side note. The Most High is angry with us for this madness. Oh, this thing sounds echoing. Let me go and open these windows. Hold on, please. All right? So it's a day of delays and delays. All right, so let's get back to it now. Psalms 85, verses 4 to 8. Psalms 85, verses 4 to 8. Turn us, O Allah of our salvation, and cause thine anger towards us to cease. Wilt thou be angry with us forever? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to all generations? Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? Show us thy mercy, O Yahuwah, and grant us thy salvation. I will hear what Alua Yahuwah will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people and to his saints, but let them not turn again to folly. So he will revive his people, but it says, let them not turn again to folly. So his anger is because they are in folly. Why? He has chosen the children of Yasharal out of all the nations to be his people. He has set forth his Torah, his order, to these people so that they do not walk in folly. The law is what shows us what folly is. The obedience to the law keeps us away from folly. Very important. So when we go back into folly, the Most High's anger will go back on us. Proverbs 14:18. Proverbs 14:18. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The simple inherit folly. And who are the simple? The word simple there means silly, that is seducible, foolish. So the foolish will inherit what? Foolishness. But the prudent, those who are cunning, are crowned with knowledge. So as long as we are simple, remember that we were born simple. If we remain simple, if we remain the way we were born, continue living life as we were, going out, striving after life, striving for success, going to man's universities. That is what man doesn't understand. Going to those universities does not make you wise. Yes? Going to the universities does not make you wise because you are going into the wisdom of this world. So you spend your time going through all of these things, seeking wisdom. But guess what? If you do not have the Ruach, then you will not have true wisdom. Yeah? All right, so let's go. Someone is asking, what day is the Tekufa on the first day of the year? I don't understand that word. I don't know that word tekufa. I'm not so versed on Hebrew. But the first day of the year is tomorrow. All right. All right, so we are at Proverbs 1:32-33. The Most High is angry with us for being in this folly, even though we were born in it. That is the strange thing about it. Even though we were born in it, the Most High is still angry because you were born in something, but you can take yourself out of it. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Who shall dwell in his set-apart hill? Whosoever hearkeneth unto me. Are you hearing the Most High? Are you listening to him? Are you obeying him? Remember we said the Ruach is given to those who obey him. Are you obeying him? Because if you obey him, if you hearken unto him, he says you shall dwell safely. By default, we are born in this madness. We are born in folly. But if we hear the Most High, if we hearken unto him, and remember, Yahushua HaMashiach said that which he hears, he speaks, because the Ruach was in him speaking to him. When we too receive the Ruach, we will be hearing the Most High, and the Most High will be speaking to us, and if we hearken unto him, we shall dwell safely. Very, very simple principle. But the simple, they shall be slain, and fools, they shall be destroyed. But why do we continue in this madness? We're going to look at something very interesting here. Yeah. We're going to look at something very interesting. Why do we continue in this madness? It is because of a lack of self-control. Let me tell you something, people. Let me show my face. See this word, self-control. Many of us as believers, we don't have any self-control. That's the death of us that's going to let us remain in the madness. You cannot come out of the madness that has been given man without self-control. I want you to listen to me carefully. Without self-control, you cannot escape the madness that man is in. You are going to be helpless, hopeless in the end. There are many believers who have no control of their temper, their temperament. They get angry, they get bitter, they get everything like that. You are only playing the part of a believer. Let me tell you something. The more I'm getting insights into these things, the more I can flatly pronounce. And the reason I can flatly pronounce is that I'm not condemning you. I'm telling you that you're at a roadblock, that you have to make a choice. There are believers who have no self-control or lack self-control. They get into arguments. So we said he was angry with us, yes. But why do we continue in this madness? Yes, lack of self-control. Lack of self-control. Proverbs 14, verse 29. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of ruach exalteth folly. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. So, as long as, I actually got the Zoom link and I posted it to YouTube. As long as we are not slow to wrath, we are not going to have great understanding. Because he that is hasty of ruach exalted folly. Hasty of ruach means you don't have control over your ruach. So your ruach, everything, every little thing, your ruach is going to respond to it. It's going to respond quickly to it. But when you have self-control, you will be able to take your time. And this is why madness is upon man. Mankind just goes about doing things without even considering the results, the effects. They just do things according to their own mind. And that hasty of ruach, that word hasty there is the Hebrew word katser, which comes from 87114, short, whether in size, number, life, strength, or temper, short-tempered, few, hasty, small, soon. So it is hasty. It is short of temper. Yeah? And when you are short of temper, you have no self-control. That is when the madness will overcome you. So as believers, one of the fruit of the Ruach is temperance, which is self-control. And self-control also is closely related to patience. When you do those things, people, when you are patient, when you have self-control, then you will have control over the madness. Because Ruach HaQadosh, one of the fruit is self-control, is temperance. So when you are walking in the Ruach, people can know because you will have self-control. Very simple. You will have self-control. Yeah. So the Ruach HaQadosh is given to guide us to ensure we are able to endure and come out of the madness of man. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For Allah hath not given us the ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. The sound mind there is self-control. So when you have the ruach, you should have self-control, a sound mind. You should not be hasty. You should not be aggressive. You should not be quarrelsome. You should not be bitter easily, angry easily. You should not have wrath or envy or rage or jealousy or anything like that. Because you are not given a ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, which is G4995, which is the Hebrew word sophronismos, which comes from G4994, discipline. That is self-control. And that word discipline there is how you overcome the madness, the folly. Because you will be tempted to do all sorts of foolishness. That's what the madness is about. It is this temptation. It is this pull for us to do all sorts of different things that is not of Yahuwah. So when you have this discipline, and that is why the word says, who Yahuwah loves, he does what? He disciplines. This is why order, you know, if anyone has been together with me, assembled together, I keep telling them about order and the Most High's order, and the Most High is an allure of order. And that the Most High chooses people and he chooses leaders. We have to have order and we have to respect the order. That is discipline. And people will hear you say that and say, oh, you want to be master over me. You want to be this. Only one person I'm master over is Yahusha, is master over me. And foolishness. Wherever you are, there has to be order. If you have your home, you have to have order. The children have to obey the parents. The wife has to be in subjection to the husband. There has to be an order. Wherever Yahuwah's people are, he lays down order. Because that order gives you discipline, which gives you self-control. Yeah? So you have a what? A sound mind. Self-control. That's how important it is. So people, those of you who are hasty, who are temperamental, who are this and that, let this today, just stop here today and know within yourself that you are in trouble. You have to now turn around. Yes? Just you look at Hamashiach. Look at Hamashiach, how he was. Look at Shaul. Look at the things Shaul went through. Shaul was there. One of the Pharisees who was there hauling off people. You have to really be a bad man to be going into people's home, hauling off people and bringing them to prison, etc. But after that, he became a beating stick. Yahushua HaMashiach said he could get 12 legions, but he was a beating stick. Yes? People nowadays, they grapple with that. Yeah? With this humility, with this self-control. Grapple with it. And anytime you see believers, for example, we see people on the streets that are gathered together, preaching and everything. If you run up on them, anger comes out and they will fight you, etc. Lack of self-control. They're still in the madness of this world. Okay? So it is self-control that enables us to avoid folly. Look at the meaning of self-control and the meaning of folly if we contrast them together. Self-control is the ability to control oneself, in particular, one's emotions and desires, especially in different situations. For example, Lucy silently struggled for self-control. So your emotions, your desires, you are able to control them. For example now, food. We know that we must not eat certain food. We know that certain food are polluted. Self-control is going to let us see the food, we love the food, and we throw it away. Pork, for example, is a fine example. There are many people who truly, truly love pork. Ask them to get rid of pork. Many people cannot. They cannot get rid of pork. But guess what? The Christians will tell you. The Hebrew Israelites call the Christian pastors Pastor Pork Chop. They are stuck on that pork and they find all sorts of excuse to eat the pork. No self-control. That means they are still in the folly, in the foolishness, in the madness of this world, because they are not walking according to Yahuwah's commandment, which gives them the ability to overcome the folly. So even this thing about law done away with, that is folly. And that ensures that you remain in folly, because the law is going to show you what is folly, what is foolishness, what is not right before the Most High. So similar words to self-control is self-discipline. It's that ability to take up control of oneself in whatever situation. Fire comes, water comes, wind comes, everything comes and blows, and you're still in control. You do not get flustered. You do not get flustered. Self-restraint. Restraint, control, self-mastery. That's a good one. Self-mastery. Self-mastery refers to the ability to control oneself regardless of the situation. Your temper, your emotions, your desires, and your lusts are not going to be in charge and going to be directing your path. When the wind blows, you are going to still stand firm. Nothing is going to dissuade you. Now let's look at folly now. That is self-control. Folly is a lack of good sense. Foolishness. For example, an act of sheer folly. A foolish act, idea, or practice. Plural noun follies, the follies of youth. Similar words to folly is foolishness, foolhardiness, stupidity, idiocy, imbecility, silliness. Now look at the role that self-control plays by looking at Proverbs 14:29. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of Ruach exalteth folly. So when we lack self-control, being hasty of Ruach, then we will be exalting folly to a higher level. But when we are slow to wrath, that is when we have self-mastery, self-control, we will be of great understanding. Because during that time when we are controlling ourselves, we will be able to control all the emotions and everything that is running upon us. All right? Now let's look a little more at the power of self-control in overcoming the madness of man, in overcoming the folly, in overcoming the foolishness of man. Acts 24:25. All right. Acts 24:25. That's what I said. All right. This was when Shaul was before Felix. And Shaul said, and it says, and as he reasoned, Shaul, reasoned of righteousness, temperance, which is self-control, and judgment to come, Felix trembled and answered, go thy way, for this time, when I have a convenient season, I will call for thee. So Felix got so scared about hearing about the judgment, righteousness, temperance, that he said, no, go, I'll call you at another time. But it's more convenient. Because he got scared. Why did he tremble? Because judgment is coming, and we need to walk in righteousness. And if we are not walking in righteousness, then the judgment is going to get us. But the only way for us to overcome the judgment and to walk in righteousness is to have self-control, is to have temperance. Felix did not want to hear that he had to walk like this. So that is why he trembled. All right? Okay. Let me go again. Which verse? 2 Peter 1, verses 3 to 13. 2 Peter 1, 3 to 13. According as his set-apart power hath given unto us all things that pertain unto life and to righteousness, through the knowledge of him that hath called us to splendor and virtue, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these ye might be partakers of the set-apart nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. So the Most High has given us his Ruach, so that we can partake of his set-apart nature. No longer partaking of the nature of man, but now partaking of his set-apart nature. Because we have now escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. And it is lust now that will lead us into folly. Lust is folly that will lead us into more and more folly. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. So here we go. Here's a process. There are several things that come together for righteousness. So some people boast about faith. I have faith. Yes? But you must add virtue to your faith. And virtue is valor. Valor, that is excellence. Praise. So you have to add virtue, and then to virtue you have to add knowledge. So when you come out and moving out of the foolishness of this world, then you'll begin with faith, you have virtue, and then to virtue you add knowledge. And to knowledge, temperance. Why does temperance have to be added to knowledge? Because knowledge puffs up. When you get knowledge, the temptation is for you to exalt yourself. The more knowledge you get, that is why I tell people all the while, I'm not with this knowledge thing. Knowledge I go about and searching, oh, you understand that, and you understand the deeper things, and people coming and question me about certain higher knowledge. Not at this time. Knowledge puffs up. You have to add self-control to knowledge, or else you are going to be a weapon of mass destruction. And to temperance, patience. So when you attain the knowledge, then you have to have self-control over the knowledge. When you have the self-control over the knowledge, then you will move into patience. You will be long-suffering. You will be able to suffer long. And to patience, holiness. And to holiness, brotherly kindness. So when you start having patience and all this, then you can have brotherly kindness to someone. You cannot just get up and have brotherly kindness. And to brotherly kindness, love. So true love doesn't really come like that. It doesn't appear out of the word and you say you just love. It's a process. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that ye shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach. So you will be able to know Yahushua HaMashiach if these things are actually in you. But he that lacketh these things is blind. There we go. If we lack all of the aforesaid things that we spoke about, then we are blind. Why will we be blind? We'll be blinded because we are going after our own desires, the sinful desires that have been given man. That's why Shaul spoke about the sinful nature in Romans 7. So this sinful nature will be ruling us and we will be blind and cannot see afar off, and hath forgotten that he was purged from his old sins. So even the fact that you were purged from your old sins, you'll even forget about that. Just walking blindly. Yeah? Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fall. So you don't come into the way and just say, okay, I'm a believer, okay, such and such. No. You make sure that you make your calling and election sure, that you strive. And this is another thing now with this once saved, always saved thing. If you're once saved, always saved, why do you need to make your calling and election sure? That shows that it is a folly. It's another folly. You have to make your calling and election sure, because if you don't do these things, then you'll be blinded. And you'll forget that you were purged from your old sins, and you will continue in sin. For so an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Master and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach. Wherefore, I will not be negligent. But before I go there, let me look at 11. For so an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom. We are being given, people, different ways to show us how we enter the kingdom. So an entrance shall be ministered unto you. When you make your calling and election sure, when you start with faith and you add to faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience, we have holiness, and to holiness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. Wherefore I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though ye know them, and be established in the present truth. So if you come every week and you hear similar things like this, Kefa did the same thing, because it is so very important. These things are more important than knowing the greatest knowledge that people try to figure out. Yeah, I think it meet as long as I am in this tabernacle to stir you up by putting you in remembrance. All right, let's go to another. What is this doing here? What am I? Well, today is the day of, what do you call it? Technical difficulties. All right. Now, we have to understand that even the mere thought of folly or foolishness is sin. The mere thought of it. So we were born with it, but even when we think it is sin, that's why it says we are born in sin and shaped in iniquity. We have to get out of sin, people. Proverbs 24, verse 9. The thought of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. So if we think any foolishness, then we sin. And the scorner is an abomination to men. The scorners are mockers. These are those people who go about mocking. These are those people who say, hey, you go about worshiping this God. Man, why don't you stop the foolishness and come to the realization that there is no God? Yeah, these are people that you call scorners. It's an abomination to men. Now, that is why we have the new covenant to remove the possibility of us going back into folly. Because with the new covenant, the law is written in our hearts. If the law is written in our hearts and in our minds, then we will not go back to folly, because walking outside of folly, away from folly, walking in perfection, walking in the way of Yahuwah, walking being led by the Ruach of Yahuwah, that will be what will be leading us. Okay? That will be what will be leading us. So Jeremiah 31:31 says, Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and with the house of Yahudah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mitzrayim, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahuwah. So we broke the covenant because the covenant was to take us out of the foolishness. So Yahuwah is saying, I'm going to find a way now to bring permanence to them coming out of this foolishness. I'm going to bring permanence so that they permanently walk outside of foolishness. Jeremiah 31:33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasharal. After those days, saith Yahuwah, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their allure, and they shall be my people. This is why we have the new covenant, to get us away from the folly, from the foolishness. When the law is written in our hearts is when the Ruach is there leading us, guiding us, being our constant companion in every thought, in every deed. It went on to say in verse 34. This verse 34 is a troublesome verse. A very troublesome verse. Why is it troublesome? Because this verse is a verse that makes many of our people believe that we are not in the new covenant. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuwah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. So, this is the thing with the new covenant. Even with the old covenant, people don't understand. Here they say, aren't you teaching your neighbor? You're still teaching your neighbor, so we cannot be in the new covenant. Yes? You're still teaching your brother. You're still telling people that they must know Yahuwah. So you cannot be in the new covenant. And when you look at the common sense way of the world, the madness of the world that we have been taught in schools and universities, this makes common and proper sense. But the difference is that the Ruach is not what is leading them to say that. And I can tell you flat out. The madness and folly that we are in, a great contributor to that is the scholastic system, the system that we have gone through in schools, and the way of wisdom of this world. So the wisdom of this world will tell you, oh, you see that in that verse. No, you cannot be in the new covenant then. But there is a way, and that's the way of the Ruach, that leads you and does what? Guides you into all truth. Guides you into all truth. Okay? So they are saying also, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. They would say, man, if I sin, I get hit by the Most High. He still remembers my sin. Yes? So I cannot be in the new covenant. Man, oh man. This is so sad. And then they will come with different verses in the scripture and different things, and they all appear to sound, yes, that they are right. But there are simple little things that they are missing. So today we are going to look at the new covenant to show that we are in the new covenant with a different approach. There are so many ways you can prove it. We're going to use a different approach, a familiar approach, but looking at it from that way that most people have not seen. Okay? We speak the wisdom of Yahuwah, the inner mystery, the mystery that is given to us through his Ruach. Right. So we have to look at the new covenant like a marriage. Now here is the marriage. And if we know and understand these things, then we get an understanding of everything. In this marriage, Yahusha is the bridegroom. No, we are not the bride. That's what we were taught. I think we have a teaching we have a teaching on justtheword.org that goes into this in detail. It's Jerusalem that is the bride. It's not us. And this is where they do err. They are using us as the bride. We're going to see this. We are the guests. We are those who are invited to the supper. It is an invitation. I'm telling you something, people. When we are acting, we are walking as believers. Many of us have this entitlement thing, okay? I did this, I did that, therefore Yahuwah is beholden to me. No, we have to qualify. The onus is always on us to qualify. You have to be accounted worthy. You have to qualify. We're going to show those verses. So when you qualify, then you would be guests at the marriage of Yahusha with Yerushalayim. But as it is in a marriage, I remember back in those days when I was out in the world, when there was a marriage, the amount of months they would give you in advance. And you know why they give you that, those months in advance? You're being invited to the marriage of John Brown and John Brown and Janet White. That will take place on such and such a time, months in advance. Why? They give you time to prepare. They give you time to get the money together, to save out of your monthly money, to buy new shoes, new this, new that, to buy them gifts, if necessary. All of those things. Yes? It's the same thing. In the new covenant, you are brought into the covenant through Yahusha. Then you have to endure to the end. Yes? In order to, in the end, to be able to qualify to be invited into the marriage. Yeah? We have been given time to get ready for the marriage. So we must have enough oil in our lamps. This must tell you that we are going to the parable of the virgins. The parable of the virgins easily explain the new covenant. Easily. If we are not ready, we will be rejected when the bridegroom comes. That's it. So we are here now. I, for example, am here as a believer, given an entrance by obeying Yahuwah, listening to his words, striving after his words, striving to walk after his word. If at the end I am not perfected, then what do you think is going to happen? He's not going to bring this imperfect person in. He's going to be rejected when the bridegroom comes. So this person has to strive for perfection, strive to make it into the kingdom. Many believers don't understand this. So when they come into the way, they relax. There's a reason Yahusha, Shaul said, there's one thing that I do. I forget everything that is behind and press toward the mark of the high calling that is in Yahusha. That is what we need to do. So let's look at the parable of the 10 virgins, because they explain the new covenant so simply. So simply. You don't need to go any further than the parable of the 10 virgins. Let me begin. Am I there? Yes. Then shall the kingdom of Shamayim be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 10 virgins, and 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. So these 10 virgins refer to being chaste, to being clean. Okay? So these are people, 10 believers. But 10 of the believers were wise, 5 of the believers were wise, and 5 of them were foolish. 10 believers. That's why there's a saying in the world, 7 brothers, 7 different hearts. Every believer will deal with their salvation different, which is why Shaul says every man has to work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. So 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. The oil refers to the Ruach we're going to see. So they took no oil with them. So these are believers who came in the way, and they were lackadaisical, focusing on this world, and part of their foot, they were double-minded, part in the world, part in the way. They serve Yahuwah. They will talk a good talk about Yahuwah. If you want people to talk about Yahuwah, listen to these people. But their words, their way did not match their words. Then you have the wise. These are those who are sold out to Yahuwah, who have denied themselves, who go about to serve Yahuwah, not caring to their own hurt. They just go out. And these, of course, will be ostracized by the other 5. The other 5 will look down on them because the other 5 will feel really inadequate when they are with these people. When they are with people who are sold out, they are going to start feeling bad in themselves. That comfort that they have, that, I am serving Yahuwah, it's not going to be there because they see another person that is outdoing them. So these wives will be totally sold out, and the Ruach will be there leading them and guiding them. And it says, but the wives took oil in their vessels with their lamps. Those were the wives. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. So they were kind of all together in that they were in the new covenant. They had the Ruach. But there were some who were foolish, who were not supercharged. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go out to meet him. At the latest time there is midnight. That was when the Son of Man will come. And he says, go ye out to meet him. But guess what? Those foolish were not prepared. That's what makes the difference with the new covenant. In the new covenant, you are given an opportunity to prepare for the wedding. If when the time comes for the bridegroom comes and you're not ready, you're going to be unprepared for the wedding. Hey, then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. So the lamps are gone out, shows that when Yahusha comes, we will be tested and we will realize within ourselves that we are not ready. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. So you see, those who are wise work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. They are saying, no, if I give up yours, what about my salvation? And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Those that were ready. This is a new covenant. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready, 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 ready. Are you ready? It is those who are ready who are going to be taken in. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Master, Master, open to us. These are those who come late, who are not ready. Yeah? And they are saying, open up. But he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. I know you not. And what did it say in the end? Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. Watch. And this word watch here is G11:27, to keep awake. That is, watch, literally or figuratively, be vigilant, be watchful. So we have to be vigilant in this covenant. So we are given the opportunity in the covenant. What do you do with it? You see, the Most High does not give us, he gives us the opportunity. He does not give us every single thing. What about you? What are you doing to get rid of this madness, this folly, this foolishness that is inborn in you? How are you going to be changed back to original Adam? How are you going to be changed to a sinless man? If the Most High gave you the new covenant and just came and said, okay, no man will need to teach his brother anymore. No man will need to teach his neighbor. No. The Most High makes sure that you are prepared and you are ready. It is when you are prepared and you are ready, then Jeremiah 31:34 will come in. They will have to teach every man his brother or his neighbor. So we are already in the new covenant, but this is the watch phase. This is the phase when we have to be vigilant, when we have to be watchful, when we have to prepare ourselves for the bride to come, for the groom to come. Okay? Did I stop at 13? Yeah. So let's just look a little at a few things. The lamp, the oil, and the ruach. The lamp must be burning forever. This is a principle from the Old Testament. Now, this principle from the Old Testament lets us know and understand the new covenant. Because the old covenant, it says it shall be a statute forever. But yet still, it's still not burning. Why? Because the temple was destroyed. And because the temple was destroyed, we are not in that covenant anymore. Yes? We are not in the literal covenant. This is a very funny thing about the old covenant. We still walk in the Testament, the laws of the Old Testament in our hearts. They are not done away with. Okay? But the covenant itself is ready to vanish away. When will it finally vanish away? It is when Yahusha returns. And when he returns, that is when the Most High, we are not going to have to teach our brothers and our neighbors anything. But we are in the new covenant. But we have not yet been brought into the bond of the covenant. Very complicated, but let me go. The lamp must be burning forever. Remember the lamp that the 10 virgins had. And thou shalt command the children of Yasharal that they bring thee pure olive beaten for the light, to cause the lamp to burn always. That's the lamp in the temple, and our bodies is the temple. So the Ruach must be blazing and burning at all times while it is in us. That's what happened to the foolish virgins. Their lamps were not blazing. The Ruach was not blazing in them. In the tabernacle of the congregation without the veil, which is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons shall order it from evening to morning before Yahuwah. It shall be a statute forever unto their generations on the behalf of the children of Yasharal. So, that lamp is no longer burning physically in the temple. So what is our oil? Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So the word, which is Ruach. John 6:63, it is the Ruach that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. So the words are Ruach, and we have Ruach HaQadosh, the Ruach. That is our oil. It's a combination of this that makes the virgins perfect. Now, we said Jerusalem is the bride. Many people will tell you, from Christianity this came from. They called us the bride. We are his bride. This is not so. It's Jerusalem that is the bride. When John was speaking, let me see if I can get to John, what John said before we go any further. It's John 3:29, yeah. He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, which standeth and heareth him, rejoiceth greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This my joy, therefore, is fulfilled. So John described himself as the friend of the bridegroom. And we know in marriages we have that. We have guests who are called to be like the best man and the bridesmaids. Okay? And yeah. So John was the friend of the bridegroom. Jerusalem is the bride. Let's go and look at it. Isaiah 62, verses 1 to 7. Isaiah 62, 1 to 7. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. There is that lamp again, the salvation. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, the righteousness of Jerusalem, and all kings thy splendor, and thou shalt be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahuwah shall name. Thou shalt also be a crown of splendor in the hand of Yahuwah, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy allure. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, Jerusalem. Neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate, but thy name shall be called Hephzibah, and thy land Beulah, for Yahuwah delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married. Thy land shall be married. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee, and as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall thy Alua rejoice over thee. So it is the Jerusalem that is talking about. As a young man marrieth a virgin, so similar, so shall thy sons marry thee. So Jerusalem will be chaste. Okay? I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day or night. Ye that make mention of Yahuwah, keep not silence. Where is it? Going to verse, where is this thing coming up? To verse 7. And give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in all the earth. It is Jerusalem that is going to be the bride. Let's go to the book of Revelation 21 verses 1 to 4 for confirmation. Revelation 21, 1 to 4. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the set-apart city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Alua out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. It's Jerusalem that is the bride. And I heard a great voice out of Shamayim saying, Behold, the temple of Alua is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Alua himself shall be with them and be their Alua. And Alua shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Jerusalem, set apart city, is the bride of Hamashiach. So Hamashiach is the groom, we all know that. And this groom is the mediator of the new covenant. The new covenant that we're talking about, that some say we don't have, Yahusha is the mediator, which means he is the lawyer, the person that goes in between. Moses was the mediator of the first covenant. Yahusha is the mediator of the new covenant. Hebrews 9, what did I say? Let me get it. 9, 11 to 28, all right. But Hamashiach, being come an high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the set-apart place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of an heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Hamashiach, who through the eternal Ruach offered himself without spot to Alua, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living Alua? And for this cause, which cause? The cause of his blood, to purge our conscience from dead works. For this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament. The word testament there means covenant. Where are we? And for this cause. Yeah. The word testament, let me get it on the screen to show you. So when you see New Covenant and New Testament, speaking about the same thing. The word testament there, G1242, diatheke, from G1303, properly a disposition that is specifically a contract, especially a divisory will, covenant, testament. So New Testament is the new covenant. So he is the mediator of the new covenant. that by means of death, so when he died, yes, that is the means through which we came into the new covenant. That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Hey, very simple. Through his death, because he was the perfect lamb, and he offered himself up unto Yahuwah, Yahuwah accepted it for the redemption of the transgression that were under the first covenant. So when we sin now, we have an atonement. That is why John 2:1 says, I beseech ye, brethren, that ye sin not. And if any man sin, ye have an advocate with the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. And he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for our sins only, but also the sins of the whole world. So that is the New Testament. For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. Where a covenant is, there must of necessity be a... So it's telling you that with the death of Yahusha, that is what established the New Testament. It is not in the end, when he's going to let us no more know our enemies. It's from right now. And then we have to determine what we do with what we have between now and that time. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. Whereupon neither the first testament was dedicated without blood, the first covenant. So if it's speaking about the first covenant and it's speaking about now must be the second covenant, the new covenant. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the Torah, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled both the book and all the people, saying, this is the blood of the testament, this is the blood of the covenant, which Allah hath enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood. And without shedding of blood is no remission. It was therefore necessary that the pattern of things in the heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these, better than bulls and goats. For Hamashiach is not entered into the set-apart place made with hands, which are the figures of the true, but into Shamayim itself, now to appear in the presence of Allah for us. When? Now to appear in the presence of Allah for us. It's a new covenant. Now. Nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entereth into the set-apart place every year with blood of others. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. Here it is again. He's telling you that it's only one offering that brings us into the new covenant. He's not going to have any offering again, so that in the end now, when it's time for him to return and we're going to be brought into the bond of the covenant, then he's going to die again for it. No, he's saying one time. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now, once in the end of the world, now at that time when they were speaking, now in the end of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. That is the new covenant. One sacrifice removes all the sacrifices of the old covenant. I don't know why these people are saying we're not in the new covenant. Hey, I'm going to show you one of the reasons why. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment, so Hamashiach was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. This again, no. Look at verse 28. Once he brings us into the new covenant. But unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. What is that speaking about? It's speaking about the parable of the 10 virgins. Unto them that look for him. It was the 5 wise who were looking for him. Shall he appear the second time? So it's one offering, but 2 appearances. So we are in the new covenant, but we have to endure unto the end when he returns the second time to be unto salvation. Just like the 10 virgins, they were wise and they had oil in their lamp so that when he came, they were ready, they were prepared. And so when the marriage was there, they went in. And by the way, to show that we were not the bride, there were 5 wives that went into the marriage. Are you telling me Yahusha is going to marry 5 people? That's polygyny. No. Yerushalayim, they were the guests at the wedding. All right. So new covenant is not only the forgiveness of sins, but also receiving Ruach HaQadosh, which is the oil for the lamp. John 16:7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. That is the Comforter, Ruach HaQadosh, that will take away their sins. That will guide them into all truth. All right. So the old covenant was twofold. The old covenant was twofold. The reason we are giving you this, there's a rising tide of people who are saying that we are not in the new covenant. You know what they are doing? Let me just tell you the strategy. It is the sinful man that is leading them. Let me tell you what they are doing. Let me get back to the beginning. Let me tell you what they're doing. By saying that we are not in the new covenant, they are saying that the sin, they're actually denying Yahusha. Oh boy. So the old covenant was twofold. Let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and see the twofold aspect of the old covenant. Deuteronomy chapter 29, the book of Devarim. 29. This is the verse that many of the Hebrew Israelites group who say that we are not in the new covenant. This is a verse that they kind of hide from, the chapter. The covenant renewed in Moab. You see, when we are in this new covenant, the covenant has to be renewed in us. We are in this covenant with Yahusha. We accepted Yahusha, being led by his Ruach. But after being led by his Ruach, what do we do? What did our soul allow us to do? Did we deny ourselves and allow the Ruach to lead us? Or were we still in charge of ourselves, going after our desires or lusts? Walking according to folly, walking according to the foolishness of man, walking according to our desires, walking according to silliness, stupidness, foolishness of this world. Deuteronomy 29:1. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moses to make with the children of Yasharal in the land of Moab, 1, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb, 2. So the covenant that he made in Horeb was the covenant that he made, which is called the Torah, when he sprinkled them with the blood at that time. So when they went in the land of Moab, before they were going to go into the land, they made another covenant. It is the same thing with the new covenant. When Yahusha returns, we're going to see what's going to happen. When Yahusha comes, when he came, he offered himself. So we are now available, we are now able to go into the covenant. Everyone, he says many, he offered his blood for many. So many are able to go into the covenant, but who will be the wise? Who will be the wise virgins? And who will endure unto the end? When we endure to the end, then we will be brought into the bond of the covenant. It's very simple. Deuteronomy 29 verse 1. Very simple. I won't even have to go to the rest of Deuteronomy 28. So the new covenant is also twofold. So the new covenant is also twofold, just like the old covenant. You just need to go to Ezekiel 20:37-38 to see the twofold. This is speaking about the end time. And in the end time, we would have already had the Ruach of Yahusha in us. Ezekiel 27 is talking about the, what do you call it? The second Exodus. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. I will cause you to pass under the rod. The rod there is the whipping, the beating. So you're given Ruach HaQadosh. And what did John say? He will baptize you with what? Ruach HaQadosh and fire. The fire there is the problems, the trials, the tribulations, the tests, the sufferings that we go through to perfect us. So I will cause you to pass under the rod, all the problems you go through, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. So we are in the covenant, but we have to be brought into the bond, the final covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels. This is why we are in the new covenant. The new covenant is survival of the fittest. That is why the Most High said, though the number of the children of Yasharal be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall return. The consumption determined shall overflow with righteousness. Only a remnant shall return. So we're going to have a lot of people who say they are saved, who believe they are saved, but many or most will be cast away. Because, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. In other words, the second going into the kingdom, the second time will be like the first. You have to first go through the first part of the covenant, and then you have to be like the wise virgin, and then you will qualify to be brought in. Twofold new covenant. Ephesians 1, 9-14. Twofold new covenant. This is what the Hebrew Israelites are missing, who are saying we are not in the covenant. How long ago? How long now have I been muted? Man, so all this time I've been speaking, I've been muted and nobody said anything. What was the last thing that you heard? Can someone tell me the last thing that you heard? Oh, man, what a mess this week has been. Man. Oh, it's a trial anyway. Deuteronomy 29. Wow, from way there. Let me get there. Man, and you people sit down and you see me going through and talking and nobody said anything. Man. Boy. All right. So we're saying that the old covenant was twofold. And you just have to go to Deuteronomy 29 verse 1. It's just one verse. You can go to the rest and you get more understanding. But just that one verse tells you that it was twofold. Notice it says the covenant renewed in Moab. So that covenant that they made on Sinai, the covenant that they made, the law, that was renewed before they went into the land. And so, remember the people who brought back the bad news about the land. Those people were made to not go or not enter into the kingdom because they lacked the emanah. So they were a part of the first part of the covenant, but they were prevented from going into the land because the covenant is twofold. You have to first be a part of the covenant. Then you are given an opportunity to see what you do with it. If you fail, you do not qualify for the next phase, which is to be brought into the bond of the covenant. Deuteronomy 29 verse 1 is very simple. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moses to make with the children of Yasharal in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. So Horeb was the first part. Then when they went through and were ready now to enter into the land, then they made the second covenant. It's the same thing with the new covenant. We made the covenant when we come to Yahusha. Repent and be immersed, baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of Ruach HaQadosh. When you do that and you receive this gift, then what do you do with it? And depending on what you do with it, then you will be brought into the bond of the covenant. So let us look again, Ezekiel 20, because the new covenant is also twofold. No different from the first. Ezekiel 20, 37 to 38 tells you of what will happen in the end in what is called, popularly known as the second Exodus. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 37 to 38. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. The rod refers to the troubles, the trials, the tribulations, the tests, the sufferings that we go through as believers to prove us and to perfect us and to ensure that we are changed and transformed, ready for the Most High. So we'll pass under the rod. So we come to Yahusha, we receive his Ruach HaQadosh, and then what? We go through fire, because John said that Yahusha will bring us through what? Ruach HaQadosh and fire. So when we go through the fire, that is what it means by passing under the rod. And bring you into the bond of the covenant, that is when we have actually overcome, we have actually endured to the end. Then we will be brought into the second part of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels. It's the same thing that happened when the children of Israel were in the first covenant. This is the second covenant. It's going to be the same thing. And them that transgress against me, these are those foolish virgins who did not have their lamp trimmed. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. So the second Exodus, the second time, is going to be the same as the first. We just want to establish that. Then we go into Ephesians 1, 9 to 14 to show the Ruach was given. Why the Ruach was given. Ephesians 1. We might be laboring on this, but we have to break it down and go into it, because this is something that you most likely will encounter. Many people, not many people, the Hebrew Israelites, a rising group. These are our people who are going to be in the awakening. They have a lot of false doctrines. I labor on them. I watch them. I understand what they believe in. I labor on them so that anyone who is listening to us can get the truth. Don't have to be in confrontation with them. Just the word bringing out the truth. Ephesians 1, 9 to 14. Having made known unto us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he hath purposed in himself, that in the dispensation of the fullness of times, he might gather together in one all things in Hamashiach, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in him. So we, with our folly, our madness, our foolishness, our silliness, our stupidness, we cannot be gathered. So we are given his Ruach to take us out of that, so that he can gather together in one, in the fullness, dispensation of the fullness of time. So he gave us his Ruach so that in the end, in the fullness of time, he will gather all things in one. That's when we are brought into the bond of the covenant. In the end, when we will no longer have to teach our brother, and he will forgive our iniquities. But that does not mean we are not in the new covenant. In whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his will. So people hear predestinated and we think that, okay, we are already in the covenant. But he says that we should be to the praise of his splendor who first trusted in Hamashiach, in whom you also trusted. After that you heard the word of truth, the good news of your salvation, in whom also after that you believed, you were sealed with that Ruach HaQadosh of promise. So after you believed, you were sealed with Ruach HaQadosh. But what happened after you were sealed? which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession unto the praise of his splendor. So what it's saying is that Ruach HaQadosh of promise that was promised unto us to lead us into the promise of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is the earnest, and earnest there is the Greek word arabon, which actually means down payment. Until the redemption of the purchased possession, until the praise of his splendor. So what it is saying, Hamashiach is going to be coming back. When he comes back as the Redeemer. To redeem us. So we are given the Ruach HaQadosh as a down payment. A down payment is when you pay down on something, and then in the end you pay the final balance. So Ruach HaQadosh is a down payment. What do we do during the time from the down payment until it's time for us to be redeemed? So the new covenant is when we receive that Ruach HaQadosh of promise, when we receive the earnest of our inheritance, which is the down payment. Then we have to endure to the end so that we can be redeemed. It's very simple. Very, very simple. Matthew 26:27. Let me just do them quickly. Matthew 26:27. This Ephesians seals the cake. Matthew 26:27. If anyone doesn't understand it, you can put your comments and your questions in the chat, please. Matthew 26:27. And if I can answer them, I will. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins." The blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many. So when his blood was shed, that was the new covenant. Acts 5:30-32. Acts 5:30-32. We did a part of this before. "The allure of our fathers raised up Yahusha, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Him hath Allure exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Yasharal and forgiveness of sins. And we are his witnesses of these things, and so is also Ruach HaQadosh, whom Allure hath given to them that obey him." So Ruach HaQadosh is given to those of us who obey him as the down payment on our inheritance until the purchased possession can be redeemed upon the return of Yahusha. So remember, the Ruach is our connection to the Father, so that we can leave the madness behind. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. "For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the Ruach of man which is in him? Even so, the things of Allure knoweth no man but the Ruach of Allure." So we can only know the things of Allure if we have his Ruach. Now we have received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach which is of Allure, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Allure. So the Ruach is our connection to the Father. Important. "And no matter how wise man thinks he is, without the Ruach, the Most High considers us to be foolish." No matter how wise we are, the Most High considers us to be foolish if we don't have his Ruach. 1 Corinthians 3:19, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Allure. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, Yahuwah knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain." Foolishness unto Allure without his Ruach. Hence, we must endure until the end after receiving the Ruach. So when he gives us the Ruach and we go into foolishness, that is why he gets angry, because we are given that which takes us out of foolishness and we have gone back into it. Matthew 10:22, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved." So we are in the covenant, but we have to endure. James 1:12, "Barak is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahuwah hath promised to them that love him." So we have to endure temptation. And after trial, we receive the crown. It's the same thing as when our people made the covenant in Horeb, and then before entering into the land, we made the covenant in Moab. Same thing. Yahushua HaMashiach is going to return to redeem us. That is when we will be brought into the bond, the final part of the covenant. So the question is, when will we be changed? Yeah. So, when will we be brought into the bond of the covenant? Let's refresh our memories at Jeremiah 31:34. This is a verse that they use as a strong point. Jeremiah 31:34. To say that, we are not in the new covenant because, And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuwah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. So we got that as a foundation. Let's see when we will be brought into the bond of the covenant. John 18:36. John 18:36. Yahushua answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. This is a reminder of what we did a few weeks ago. His kingdom is not of this world. So, being brought into the bond of the covenant, it is a spiritual transformation. He's telling you his kingdom is not of this world, and this world is carnal, is natural. So he's telling you that it is spiritual. 1 Corinthians 15:50-54 should put the icing on the cake as to this being brought into the bond of the covenant. These will not happen until we are ready, like the 5 wise virgins who are ready. Now I say this, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. So it's a transformation that's going to take place as a final bond of the covenant. Oh boy. Yeah. So verse 51 says, Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. So being brought into the bond of this covenant, when he says his kingdom is not of this world, it's going to be a supernatural transformation that's going to take place. We shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that it is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. So this is a transformation that's going to take place for us to be brought into the covenant. Remember, I don't think I got to speak about it. The reason they are happy to say we are not in the covenant because it takes away accountability. We can say, okay, you will take away our sins. So what they are waiting on is a magical thing that they just come and they are just transformed. So if you see most people who do this are people who are in the badness and folly. They are not seeking out the righteousness that we are seeking because they are saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. He's just going to come and let us not have to teach our neighbors anymore. And so they will continue in some form of sin. It's very similar to once saved, always saved. Very, very, very sad. That's why you have to understand it, so you can tell people about it. So remember, the bride is Yerushalayim, but who will be the guests? Revelation 19:6-10. Who will be the guests? Let's finalize this part of it. Revelation 19:6-10. Who will be the guests? And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah! For Yahuwah Alua omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife had made herself ready. Herself, that means the wife has to be a singular factor, not themselves. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So the saints are not the bride, but their righteousness clothes this bride. Yeah? And he said unto me, right, Barak are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Barak are they which are called. It is the guests, the invitees who are called. It is those saints whose righteousness will clothe the bride. And he said unto me, these are the true sayings of Yahuwah. And I fell at his feet, and that it is not necessary part of what I'm talking about. All right? So that is Jerusalem. Okay? All right. So, how will we escape the madness of man? Enter into the bond of the covenant. Be a guest at the marriage supper of the Lamb. We have to qualify people. We have to prepare ourselves. There's a reason that we are speaking all about righteousness and nothing about righteousness here. It is preparation. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to qualify. And let's go to the same. Revelation 19, verse 9. And he said unto me, right, Barak are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Called. Not because you become a believer. That does not mean you're going to be called. It's a calling. We have to qualify. Luke 21, 34 to 36. We have to qualify to be called to the marriage supper. Luke 21. We have to be the wise virgins to be called in and be ready when the bridegroom comes to be called in. And take heed to yourselves. And I don't want anyone to throw stones at me for using these verses too often. These are not the only verses that we know. We know other verses, but, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. This is the new covenant. You're in the new covenant. He's saying, take care that you are not one of the foolish virgins. You're overcharged with excess, with greed, with gluttony, and drunkenness, the drunkenness of Babylon, overcharged with Babylon and its desires and everything, and the cares of this life, and loving this world and the things of this world and caught up in this world. And so that day come upon you unawares. So I remember someone was telling me, hey, Kazak, you're calling people to, you're messing up people's lives, calling people to come out of Babylon and whatever. Let me tell you something. Calling people to come out of surfeiting, drunkenness, and cares of this life. Yeah, I will continue to do that. You can continue to say, all right, stay in it. All right? Because this drunkenness, of course, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand to make the earth mad. The earth has become drunken, therefore the earth is mad. This is Babylon itself. Because it says, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. This is like the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins. At the midnight hour, there was a shout, the bridegroom cometh, and then prepare, they're preparing. This is what it's saying. Make sure that you are ready. Are you ready? Ready, 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 ready. You have to be ready at all times. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. That is how we escape. That is how we will go through into the bond of the covenant. Yeah. And you have to look at watch. That word watch there is to keep awake, to be sleepless. So you are relentlessly pursuing your salvation. How can you relentlessly pursue your salvation in the midst of Babylon, sitting down there, going through the cares of this life and all sorts of different pollutions and different... How can you do that? Watch, be sleepless, and pray always. How can you be praying always in Babylon? Babylon sets out that timetable for you, you see? You have to work such and such, and you have to do overtime, and you have to such and such. And while working, take which time. You only have an hour lunchtime. Or some people don't even have lunchtime. You don't have time. All you have time to do is just focusing on work. By the time you are done and you get home, you're too tired to do anything, to focus on everything. How can you be watching and praying always? How can you be saying, you're wrong to say flee out of all this mess to get people to walk in righteousness? It says, watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy. You know what accounted worthy means? To deem entirely deserving. That's what we are telling you people. That in the end, to qualify, to dwell in his hill in Zion, you have to qualify. It's a qualification. That is why Shaul says, everyone who runs the race with, but we must run the race with patience. Patience. To be accounted worthy, the Most High is watching everything we do, everything we say, every thought, and evaluating us whether he accounts us worthy to escape. And that word escape means to flee out. Ekfugo. I'm not showing them on the screen, but you need to go and look into this verse yourself and look and see what it is saying in the concordance for yourself. So you must be vigilant. You must be sleepless, watching and praying always, that you may be deemed entirely deserving to flee out of all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. This is when you are redeemed. When you stand before him, that is when you are redeemed. Only how people are getting these understandings for themselves. It is a qualification. So the question, how will we escape the madness of man that we are born with, the folly, the foolishness, the silliness, the stupidness that we enjoy in this world? And if you think back, and I think back, some stupidness, some silliness that I enjoyed in this world, stupid world, being stupid myself. Yeah. Anyway, how will we escape the madness of man? Enter into the bond of the covenant. Be a guest at the marriage supper of the Lamb. We have to qualify. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, you have to do this. As long as you do this, you're this. As long as you're this. As long as you're nothing, you have to qualify. Revelation 3 verse 10, another verse that shows that we have to qualify. And patience, self-control, all of those things are necessary. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the earth to try them that dwell upon the earth. It's a qualification. Patience. We'll let him keep us from the temptation. We have to keep the word of his patience. So when he comes to us and say patience, we have to keep the word. Hey. Because, remember, even after bringing them out of the countries where they are scattered, the Most High is telling you that they still have to qualify. Look, and I will cause you to pass under the rod and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, And they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. Still have to qualify even though they are brought out. It's a qualification, people. So remember, some believe that we are not in the new covenant. I think we have dealt with that because of Jeremiah 31:34. So who will overcome and how will they qualify? This brings me to this verse, this chapter, Psalms 15. Let me tell you something. This chapter was given to me this week. I was going, some things were on my mind. I'm musing on something and having some thoughts. And then I picked up the Bible. And the very things that I was speaking about, the very thinking, everything, Psalms 15 just answered every single thing that I was saying. I was reading it and said, thank you, Yahuwah, thank you. It was so insightful, this Psalm 15. Psalms 15. Because we know that our task is, the question is, who is going to enter into the land? We have to ask that. Am I going to enter? Excuse me. It's a qualification to enter. This Psalms 15, right now, whatever you're doing, you need to stop and listen to it. It will let you evaluate yourself to know where you are, to know what needs to change. And it's going to be very heavy because the demands on it, the believer that is going to dwell in this, who shall dwell in my holy hill? The believer that is going to dwell in this holy hill, it's not a normal believer. It's not everybody. It's only be a few. That's why I understand. When I read this, I understand what Ezra said. There be many that be created, but few shall be saved. And what he said in Isaiah, though the number of the children of Yasharal be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall return. It's only a few. And when Yahushua said, many are called, but few are chosen. It is a few. And you need to listen to this very carefully and watch very carefully. Okay? Very common Psalms. When you read these Psalms, sometimes it does, these 5 verses, it does, who shall dwell in thy holy hill? We're going to look at the meanings of the words and show the Most High is speaking to us. A Psalm of Dawood or David. Let me make sure this is on. No, I'm not on the Bible. Good thing I checked. Okay. A Psalm of David. Yahuwah, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? What should I do? Let me do it in the blue letter. Then we can get the verses. This thing doesn't go away. We can get the verses more properly. All right. Who can abide? I think what we have here is the meaning of the word abide. Who shall abide in thy tabernacle? The word abide there, let me get it, is the Hebrew word gur, which means to sojourn, to dwell, to be afraid, stranger, to gather together, fear, abide, assemble, stand in awe, gathered, inhabitant, remain, sojourners, surely. So who shall dwell, who shall live, who shall stay, who shall gather together, who shall assemble together in thy set apart hill? Let me go back. You're going to go 2 and 4. Okay? Let's hope. What this thing says. 50% of the bundle gone. Oh, Bobo. All right. Well, I'm going until it's done and then I'll switch over. All right. So, who shall dwell? A Psalm of David. Who shall abide in thy tabernacle? I don't think I'll do it from here. It's going to take too long. Let me go back to the Bible. Yeah. Let me go back to the Bible. Because of the Bible, I can put it in the corner and we can at least see it. Yeah. So who shall abide in thy tabernacle. The tabernacle there is ohel, a tent, clearly as a conspicuous covering, dwelling, place, home, tabernacle, tent. So who shall dwell in his tent? And we know it's speaking about Zion. And who shall dwell in thy set apart hill? Now this word dwell here is different from the one before. Who shall dwell in thy set apart hill? This word dwell, I want you to listen very carefully, is shakan, which means to the idea of lodging, to reside or permanently stay, literally or figuratively. Now this is for those who are seeking to flee out of the midst of Babylon, as well as every single believer. So whether you're seeking to flee out of Babylon or you are another believer, wherever you are, you have to take this into consideration. To permanently stay, to abide, to continue, to cause, to make, to dwell, to have habitation, to lay, to remain, to rest. Who will be able to do that? And he starts in verse 2 to tell you who will be able to stay and remain and to rest in Zion. He that walketh uprightly. Now it sounds so simple, like something you would just go over this. You would just go over this. All right? Yeah, you would just go over this. He that walketh uprightly. I see a thing in the chat. Let me see if there is any problem. Okay. Michael was saying all his life he was taught that they were the bride. All right. All right, so where was I again? The Bible. Yeah. So he that walketh uprightly. The word uprightly. First of all, walketh. We know walketh. This has a lot of meaning. Halak. In a great variety of applications. To a pace, to behave, to continually be conversant, to exercise, to follow. But what we want to look at is to walk uprightly. The word uprightly there is tamim, H8549, which means entire, figuratively or morally, also integrity, truth, without blemish, complete, full, perfect, sincerity, sound, without spot, undefiled, upright, whole. So you have to be perfect. And they are telling you in this world that you cannot be perfect. You have to be perfect. The Most High said, even through Peter, in one of the books of Peter, and ye shall be kadosh. You shall be holy, for I am kadosh. And Yahusha said in Matthew 5:48, be ye therefore holy, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So we have to walk uprightly to begin with, in perfection. We cannot have any blemish. We have to take ourselves totally, completely out of the madness that is upon man. That is the 5 wise virgins who were ready. The 5 virgins that when Hamashiach came, Hamashiach said, yes, they were spotless. And remember in Matthew 7:21-23, he said, depart from me, ye workers of iniquity. There were those who were, when he came, who thought that they were perfected. They thought that they were ready. They thought they were ready. And he said, I never knew you. You thought I knew you, but I never knew you. That is why these teachings I'm telling you, these are gold. You have to treasure these things. And look how many people are seeing these teachings. There'll be many created, but few shall be saved. Few people see our teachings, just a few hundred. And you have some people, when they do teachings, you have thousands of people who listen to them. but only a few, because the Most High draws his people unto him. He that walketh uprightly. How many people are telling you that you have to be perfect to enter into Zion? So for those who intend to flee out of Babylon, you have to try to perfect yourself where you are. You don't come into the land and try to perfect yourself here. You perfect yourself from there. That is Ezra 6 verses 21 to 22, I think. You have to perfect yourself from there and get ready from there. Get rid of Babylon. Shake Babylon from there. Because the temptation is to bring Babylon with you. If you bring Babylon with you, you're going to fail. You have to shake Babylon from where you are. He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness. The word worketh there. H6466. To do or make systematically and habitually, especially to practice. To commit, to do, to make, to ordain. So you practice righteousness habitually, systematically, right through constant righteousness. It's not righteousness here. Like some people when they go to church on Sundays or on Sabbath, that's when they are righteous. That's when they're kadosh. And then after that, they go back into the madness of man, into folly, into foolishness. It is those that walk in perfection and practice, habitually do righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. Speaketh the truth in his heart. What's the significance of this? And somebody had asked me this. What does it mean, speak the truth in his heart? For me, for example, I'm here. I can be here speaking the truth because thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness and thy law is the truth. So if I'm speaking according to Ra, according to the word, I can be speaking the truth, which is why Hamashiach said the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Whatever they bid you do, do it, but don't do after what they do. Because they say and they do not do. So I can say the truth, I can speak the truth, but it's not in my heart. It is not a part of me. I do not practice it. I am only saying it hypocritically. That can be me. But if I'm speaking the truth, I have to speak the truth in my heart, which means it has to be a part of me. It has to be a natural, it has to be coming out of the depths of me, because the Most High knows the thoughts and the intents of our hearts. Hey. And he continues. He that backbiteth not with his tongue. That word backbiteth is H7270, or ragal, which means to walk along, but only in specific applications, to reconnoiter, to be a talebearer, that is slander. These are those who slander people. Also, as denominative, to lead about, to backbite, to slander, to spy out, to teach, to go. This is speaking about slandering with your tongue. Backbiting. And the meaning, where is this thing here? Of slander, you have to get the meaning of slander. Oh, I didn't have this thing prepared. Slander. Slander, to utter slander, to defame. An utterance of false charges or misrepresentations which defame and damage another's reputation. A false and defamatory oral statement about a person. So the whole bottom line of slander is that it is false. You carry tales. That's another thing. A tale bearer, you bear tales. That is slander. Nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor. Now, this word reproach there is charpa from age 2778, contumely, disgrace, rebuke, reproach, shame. Let me see reproach here in the dictionary. That doesn't give me much. So you have to start out with perfection, and all of these things also as part of perfection. All right? Reproach is an expression of rebuke or disapproval. A cause or occasion of blame, discredit, or disgrace. So we cannot look to be smearing our neighbor, to be disgracing our neighbor, to be blaming our neighbor. Yes? We have to walk in such a perfection that when people do us things, or we think people do us things, because sometimes we think people do us things, but we are actually blinded. So when we think people do us things, we don't hold it against the person. We don't do anything. So if you take up a reproach against your neighbor does something and you're angry with the neighbor, and you take up a reproach, you take some form of action, malice or anger or defaming the person, whatever you do, slandering the person, whatever you do. Hey, and I tell you, a lot of people, the amount of people in this world that are going to have problem with this because of me, yours truly. I'm telling you, a lot of people, many, many people. So those who are going to enter the hill, you cannot speak evil, do it evil to your neighbor. You cannot do evil to your neighbor, and you cannot take up a reproach against him or her. This salvation thing, it's not easy. Righteousness, it's not easy. Because we were brought up in the foolishness of man. That's our problem. Being brought up in the foolishness of man, we don't understand what the righteousness of Yahuwah actually, truly, truly looks like. It's not easy. All right? Verse 4, it's not done. In whose eyes a vile person is contemned. Now, a vile person, it's H3988, ma'as, to spurn, also intransitively to disappear, abhor, cast away, cast off, contemn, despise, disdain, become loathsome, melt away, refuse, reject or refuse, reject, reprobate, utterly vile person. So a vile person is a disgusting, abominable person. Probably a person that has committed abominable sins, a murderer, a rapist, a whatever. Vile person, an idolater, a person who blasphemes the Most High. All of those things, we have to contemn them. And that contempt there is bazaar, to disesteem, despise, disdain, contemptible, think to scorn, vile person. And we see this in the life of David. I wonder if this thing is done. We see this in the life of David. I remember, what's his name? Barzillai. David and his men, when they were hiding from Shaul, Barzillai's men were keeping sheep. And Barzillai was a despicable, vile person. And David wanted food, and he went to him and asked him to give him some sheep and told him, hey, we took care of your men. They didn't lose any sheep and everything. And Barzillai responded rashly to David, you want my sheep? Why should I give you my sheep? Such and such and such and such. I'm just paraphrasing everything. And David set up, you know what? This man has to die. And David went about to kill him. Fortunately, his wife heard about it, and his wife came in and intervened, offered David thing, and beseeched David not to kill her husband. But this is what it's talking about. If David had done it, and David destroyed several people for certain things they did. For example, when that young man, the Amorite or the Amalekite, I think Amorite, whatever, Amalekite, said that he killed Shaul or Saul. David killed him and said, you touched Yahuwah's anointed. So that he looked on him as being a vile person. So we have to look on persons who are vile, and we cannot accept vile persons. Yeah? But he honoreth them that fear Yahuwah. So here's the other thing now. We have a vile person, but you have the opposite, who are those who fear Yahuwah. Now we cannot condemn those who fear Yahuwah. So in other words, we cannot even condemn, disdain another believer who fears Yahuwah. We have to honor those who fear Yahuwah. Those who fear Yahuwah have to have honor. So how can we be disdaining our brothers in the way, our sisters in the way? He honoreth them that fear Yahuwah. And honor also means honor with your substance. People who are in the way, who are believers, you are supposed to honor them, help them. And he says, honor your father and your mother. It also means that you help them by giving to them. Yeah? He that sweareth to his own hurt and changeth not. What does it mean to swear to your own hurt? The word swear there is shabah. To sever oneself, that is swear as if by repeating a declaration, charged by an oath, with an oath. All right, to take an oath. So when you swear to your own hurt, it is when you decide. For us, Yahushua Mashiach said, swear not. So we don't swear, but we resolve to do certain things. So when we resolve to do certain things, we make up our minds to do certain things. We have to do it to our own hurt. We know that when we do this, we are going to suffer. We know when we do this, oh, it's going to be pain. Oh, it's going to be a problem. But we do it and we do not change. We do not change. All right? He that putteth not, well, I thought it was done. He that putteth not out his money to usury, nor taketh reward against the innocent. So putteth out his money to usury is when you charge interest on your money. Nor taketh reward against the innocent. So when someone is innocent and you take up shachad against them, a donation, a bribe, a gift, against them, the innocent ones, you know that the person is innocent, but someone comes and say, hey, come and witness against this person for me. You know a person who will always be providing for you. And he might be speaking bad about someone, and you go, and he keeps giving you, and he keeps saying, yes, man, you know that that person is innocent. But within yourself, you can't say it in front of the other person because you're taking up a reward against the innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved. These are the people who are going to enter Zion. The most profound one is the very first one. The first verse, who shall abide in the second verse? He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness. He that walketh perfect and worketh righteousness. All right? So what we are showing you, and that's it for today, what we are showing you, it is that it is perfection that is required for the kingdom. Those people who are interested to say, flee out of the midst of Babylon, many people are fleeing for fear. And when the time is going to come, you're going to see it's going to get worse and worse. And people are going to panic more and more and want more and more to get out, especially out of Babylon, USA. I want to get out. But let me tell you something. Work on righteousness. Work on righteousness. Because if you flee in unrighteousness, the Most High told you, yes, He's not going to accept you. Make sure you concentrate on righteousness. Watch the videos that we have. Our videos focusing on righteousness, focusing on getting us to the right place where we need to be. All right? Don't just think about fleeing and think about that. Yeah. 80%. It has almost finished there. Yeah. So don't think about all those things. Think about righteousness more than anything else. Think about perfection. Think about perfection. All right? Okay. So let me go to the Zoom. Are there any questions in there? Or comments? All right. You cannot see on Zoom. Someone said Matthew 10:20 goes along with this word. Can you update your scriptures? Notice the foolish virgins had the same chance as the ones that turn out to be wise, but wasted it. This should be an eye-opener and great lesson for us today. I do not know if I'm filled with the Ruach, but do know who speak. But I do know you speak the wisdom of the Most High by His Ruach. If we can joyfully receive what you share and strive to apply it, even to our hurt, is this evidence that the Ruach is with us? What a question. The Most High gives His Ruach to those who obey Him. So if you hear the word of truth, the good news of your salvation, and believe, remember when Shaul said that? You shall be filled with that's Ephesians 1:9-14. You were filled with Ruach HaQadosh of promise. Okay? So that should answer your question. Let's go back to Ephesians 1 to get you insights into the question that you just asked. In whom ye also trusted, verse 13. After that ye heard the word of truth. This is, you know that this is, your question is Ephesians 1:13? Yeah, your question is actually Ephesians 1:13. In whom ye also trusted, after that you heard the word of truth, the good news of your salvation, in whom also after that ye believed, ye were sealed with that Ruach HaQadosh of promise, which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, unto the praise of His splendor. Now this was written for Israelites. But I do believe, He says He will pour out His Ruach upon the handmaidens and the servants in those days. So I do believe that this answers your question. Yeah. All my life I was taught that the church or church members were the bride. So sad. Yeah, this is what we were taught. And let me tell you something, people. Let me tell you something. And this is not a boast. Almost every teaching you see here, nobody taught me. It is the Ruach. Even this one here about Jerusalem, it was the Ruach that taught me, that showed me precept upon precept, line upon line. The reason I'm saying this is that you too can receive these depths of insights by letting go of the old church ways, the old Christianity, etc. Build on this foundation. Let me tell you something. This is a good foundation to build. Because all I do here is build foundation. It's build upon what has been given. Build upon, build upon, build. That is what the Most High does. He gives a little this week, a little next week. These insights, almost every insight that you see on justaword.org. That is why a lot of them are so unpopular. People say, where you got this from? Because they didn't learn it there. It wasn't taught to them. But the Most High gave it to us at Just a Word. So you too can get this as long as you believe and diligently seek out the Most High and diligently trim your lamps. All right? All the virgin had lamps, but only 5 had oil. They were prepared and made themselves ready. Prepare yourselves. That's it. Prepare yourselves. Yeah. All right. So shalom, everyone. And I guess my Shabbat has been done some time ago. about an hour ago, and you are still on your Shabbat. So I can say shalom, shalom, shalom to you, and do have a great day. And shalom.
Shalom Mashbaka, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special message from the Most High Yahuwah that was given to me early this afternoon in prayer. I want to deliver the message, and then the video will end. The purpose of this video is simply to share what the Most High has instructed me to share. No more, no less. And now hear the word of the Most High Yahuwah to us, the nation of Yasharal, and to the nations of the world. Halal Yahuwah, Halal Yahuwah, Halal Yahuwah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I will delay no longer. I will delay no longer. I will delay no longer. My mercy knows no end. My mercy knows no bound. But there comes a day when judgment commences. There comes a time when I say enough is enough. That time has arrived. I will bring my hammer down upon the nation of the United States of Babylon and the countries that align itself with it. I will bring my hammer down in judgment. I will recompense my people, Yasharal, for the ways in which they have been mistreated, the ways in which they have been maligned, the ways in which they have been imprisoned and enslaved. I will bring the hammer down upon this nation. I will recompense my nation. I will defend my beloveds. I will gather my people out. No more time. No more time. Delay no longer. Delay no longer. Only a remnant. Only a remnant. Only a remnant will be saved. Only a remnant will be spared. There are many who have come into the awakening, and they have learned their identity. They have found out by one means or another who they are and where they derive from, that they are Hebrews. And they have determined that they are from this tribe or that tribe. But they have not drawn nigh unto me through my Son. They do not know me, and therefore I do not know them, and I will not spare them for the judgment that is coming. I will not spare them during the time of war and famine. I will not spare them during the times that the creatures attack. I will not spare them. They do not know me. My children, those of you whom I have sequestered away in Goshen, I have brought you out of the world and brought you to myself, and you have responded. You respond to my requests. You respond to my commands. You respond to my dictates and my statutes. Your desire is to please me. It is not perfect, but your heart's desire is to please me. And I see you. And I see your efforts. And I will cover you with my feathers. Continue in my love. Continue in my ways. Continue to surrender to my commands and to my Son. Continue. Judgment is here. Judgment is here. For those who have eyes to see, you may see it. For those who have ears to hear, you may hear it. But for those who are on the outskirts, those who dilly and dally in Babylon, who have one toe in the world and one toe in the kingdom, they will not see it coming, and it will knock them off their center, and they will be lost. Only a remnant will be spared. Only a remnant will be brought out. I will only gather those who are producing fruit unto righteousness. If you are not producing fruit unto righteousness, you will not be gathered out. This is my warning to my nation. You are my people, and I love you, but I only love those who obey me. If you disobey me, you demonstrate to me that you hate me. When you hate my commands, when you hate your brother, when you will not do the things that I have instructed you to do. Only a remnant, Only a remnant will be saved. Only a remnant will be spared. The days hasten fast. Make final preparations as I have instructed you to do. Be very careful about where you go and how you traverse and how you travel. Be ever prayerful. Pray for your Malachim to guard you and keep you in all of your ways. Pray Psalm 91 over yourself, over your families, over your home. Stand in my word. Stand on my word. Believe in my word. And be spared. Only a remnant, only a remnant, only a remnant will be spared.
Zion, Zion, Zion. Only a few of us gonna make it out. Zion, Zion. Only you remnant, 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 only you remnant. When is my people gonna learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We take it, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. Only you remnant, 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 only you remnant.